So we have an individual with 2 pairs of alleles. Who could tell me what are the gamete possibilities? So remember, the gametes are going to take these, at half of these, into their cells. So what could be a possibility of a gamete? If you're capital Y, capital R, little r, what can a gamete have?
Capital Y. Capital Y, capital R.
Okay, I'll take it. And that's actually my first one. So one gamete could be capital Y, capital R. Let's stick now. Yes?
Can it be little y, little r?
It could be little y, little r. What else? Big Y, little r. Good. And?
Little y, capital R.
Perfect. And that's not even there, but it should say that. So it would be little y, capital R for the last one. We're going to take, these are the parents, right? I don't know why that's there. These are the parents. We're going to divide the gametes just like we did for one parent and then for another. And we're going to do what's called a dihybrid cross. So it's the same thing as a Punnett square, except we're using 2 alleles, and there's ones with 3, which get even more complicated. So the possibilities grow. Instead of 4 boxes, we're going to end up with 16 boxes, okay? So some of them are uncovered, so I'm going to show you how you come up with this. We bring this one down and this one across, so we end up with a capital Y, little y, and then capital R, okay? Because you go across and down. I always put the capital letter first. It doesn't matter. It could have been little y, big Y, okay? Who could tell me what this is? So here are the genotypes, and these are the ratios. So you're going to have 9 smooth yellow, and then you're going to have 3 smooth, green, whatever. It doesn't really matter. All right. So let's talk a little bit about human traits, even though we did a little bit of that activity before the break, to kind of talk about human genetics. We know traits are determined by what? Genes. And genes are located on this, which is called chromosomes. They are represented by alleles, which are letters. So there's a picture of a chromosome, which can be found inside DNA strands, which we're going to study next. And inside there are thousands of genes or allele pairs that represent traits that you have. How many chromosomes do humans have? 23 pairs. So it's 46 total chromosomes, 23 pairs. Of those pairs, the first 22 pairs are called autosomal chromosomes. Those are your traits other than sex. Your sex chromosome is pair number 23, and that's where your XX is if you're a female, right? And XY if you're a male. Pair 23. And this is a picture of what people look at when they look at a karyotype is like a picture of your chromosomes. And you notice that the 23rd pair shows the sex chromosomes. And you notice that these chromosomes go from like biggest to smallest, and then the sex, which is its unique. So our autosomal chromosomes are actually lined up that way to go from the largest chromosomes to the smallest. And when there's genetic disorders, sometimes it involves genes. So sometimes one of these little things will have a problem, right? So like your allele has a problem. Sometimes the actual entire partnership has a problem. Have you ever heard of trisomy 21? You'll have 3 chromosomes on the 21st pair. That's called trisomy 21, which is Down syndrome. So instead of having a pair of chromosomes, you get an extra one. Yeah, so there's a lot of, and I love doing that too, which is a genetic. So we're going to talk about sex-linked traits, okay? So up until now, we've been looking at alleles on autosomal chromosomes, but there are genes on your sex chromosomes, and they are usually 99% of the time carried on an X chromosome, but they can be found on the Y. We're going to focus on X, genetic or sex-linked traits on the X chromosome. So basically that means that the mother has a huge impact on whether the person will carry or show the disorder. So we express sex-linked traits just like we did autosomal. We're going to use the letter of the dominant trait. So sex-linked traits are usually disorders. They're not something you want to have. Color blindness is an example. So is anybody colorblind in here? No? So color blindness is a trait that's found on the X chromosome, and it affects your ability to see all colors. And there's a lot of different forms of color blindness. So color blindness is a disorder. So we want to think N for normal, right? Or H for healthy. There should be an N there because I'm going to stick to N. So change this to N. I was going to change it to H, but you usually pick N or H, so healthy or normal, because the disorder is going to be anything else. You know what else is a sex-linked trait? Baldness. So as many of you, especially males, think, oh, my dad's bald, so I'm going to be bald. You're wrong. Your dad does not provide you with the bald trait. Your mother does. Because your mother gives you the X chromosome, and baldness is a sex-linked trait on the X chromosome. So if you're a male and your mom has very, very thin, fine hair, she's a carrier. You know, it's very rare for women to show because they have to have two of them. But males only need one. So let's look at the genotypes. If you're a female, you're XX. If you're a male, you're XY. Okay? Let's look at genotypes of who has a sex-linked trait and who doesn't. If you're a female and you have a sex-linked trait, what's your genotype? I'm going to show you this one because it's hard. We got to express the sex and the alleles. So that's what makes it different from everything we've done before. We've only expressed alleles. So if you're a female and you have it, you have the alleles for color blindness, which are two little n's, because it's a recessive sex-linked trait. What about a female that carries it but doesn't have it? Nick. We got uppercase X, uppercase N, but then you have to have a lowercase n too. So you carry the trait, but you don't show it because the dominant trait always masks the recessive. Okay? How about a normal female?
Uppercase X, uppercase N, uppercase X, uppercase N.
Perfect. Who could give me the males? A male that has it. Ryan. He's a male.
No, capital X, capital N, capital
No.
No?
Y,
Oh, no, Y.
capital X, little n, capital Y.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because it's sex-linked on X, a male only needs one and they have it. Because nothing is masking the recessive trait. So guys tend to show sex-linked traits more than females. What's a normal male? Perfect.